Well, Surf Online Safely is a very successful initiative brought to life by my next guest, Paul Litherland, and he really has quite a story, and it's really his to tell. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Jenny. How are you going?
I'm good, thank you. Great to catch up with you the other day to find out what you're involved in and how successful all this has been. I mean, it's your story. 20 years in the police force, but the last 5 you're involved in the investigation of the Technology Crime Investigation Unit. Bit of a shock, isn't it, what you find?
Yeah, it was a big eye-opener for me. I mean, I initially went up there because my background is in web design and image creation, so it's not until I got right into the depth of how all the online investigations, but more importantly the offences that are out there, it really opened my eyes to how vulnerable people can be online.
So we, the consumer, are possibly the more vulnerable, are we? We're ripe pickings, do you think, in all sorts of areas?
Oh, I think we are. It's not only from a criminal perspective, from scams and abuse and that sort of stuff, but it's also in regards to the creation of online environments, apps, games. We're being targeted more and more from a commercial sense than we ever have been in the past. So the online environments are just continuing to grow so strongly. So that's where most of our future, I suppose, is headed now in regards to the online environment.
There's a lot of discussion about young children, of course, online far too long, and games that they're playing is one area. But I guess predators are a big concern of children pretending to be another child, I guess. Is that the angle they tend to take?
Yeah, and that's what we dealt with quite regularly. And Jenny, when we were younger, I mean, we didn't have online predators, but sort of for predators and stuff like that would hang around schoolyards or ovals and parks. Yeah. So there's no difference in regards to the online world now is where these environments are, where they're being created for kids, and they're very innocent. Obviously games or certain sites, you're always going to get people hanging around in there as well. And where I get pretty frustrated is the ease of creation of accounts and how anyone can pretend to be a kid online. So I'm trying to push that onus back onto the creators of apps and sites and even gaming environments to sort of really try to clamp down on that ease. But yeah, we're trying to get there.
How can you do that? Do you need legislation behind you?
Oh, I think not only legislation, but I think there needs to be a cultural change in regards to the actual manufacture and release of online environments. So unfortunately, that's a massive change because most of the environments that are being created are overseas. So trying to police that in Australia is quite difficult. And this is the frustration I got, Jenny, when I was working at Tech Crime because so much of it was happening overseas, so my hands were tied. So for me, it's really just about trying to push that cultural change in regards to creation, and that's what I'm trying to do at the moment.
Yeah, well, you are very successfully. I mean, of course, for a film has to be passed, doesn't it, by, and so all this other stuff coming in from overseas, surely something can be done to be screened and to rate them, that sort of thing, suitable for adults or something.
And you're so right because, and I use the analogy quite often. And don't get me wrong, Jenny, I mean, there's still a responsibility on users. There's still a responsibility on people who are using these networks. But a motor vehicle can't be introduced or designed and sent out to the public in this country without really strong boxes being ticked in regards to safety. But we're not doing that at this stage in regards to the online environment. So this is where that needs to change. So at least if someone has created an online environment, there's things in place to at least minimise risk, and then with the right education and approach by users, then that'll help them a little bit better as well.
Sort of classification, but Paul, how do you start to sort of get that in place? I mean, it would have to be a government initiative, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would do, but we are starting to see some change now. I mean, Apple is starting to bring out devices and operating systems that have got parental capabilities. They've got an ability to lock down time and where kids are going. So that's a start. You're also getting a lot of our gaming environments are starting to work on really good reporting mechanisms, and we've got a lot of great resources out there in Australia at the moment, the Safety Commission, the Think You Know website. So it's, as I said, a holistic change. So for me, if we can really start to get manufacturers to go, you know what, there is now not only a legal obligation, which hopefully continues to grow, but also a moral obligation to go, you know what, rather than just chucking something out there and go, here you go, kids, use it, anything goes wrong, it's not our problem, where we need to change that.
But you are getting to the young people, obviously, by the numbers are phenomenal, Paul. I can't believe how many that you've been to. Just tell everybody how many.
Oh, I mean, I started 5 years ago, or 6 years ago now, with just 5 schools in Perth, and I've gone up to 430 schools and organisations across Australia now, and I presented last year to 65,000 kids and over 30,000 adults, and across all demographics, from school parents to teachers right up to people working at major corporations. So so much of what I'm doing now is just the message. It's still giving a lot of advice and hints and tips, but for me now it's just really starting to drive some change, and we've done that quite recently with the intimate image abuse legislation being introduced into WA, so little things like that I'm so proud of.
Now, Surf Online Safe, how do people see this?
They can jump online to surfonlinesafe.com.au, navigate my website. I've also got a YouTube channel and Twitter, so I'm on most of the social networking out there. So it's just a matter of searching me through Google, and I'm always happy to be contacted via email for anyone who's got any concerns or they want me to come out and say good day to their school, then I'm more than happy to do that. That's
fabulous. We've got all your information here as well, Paul. You know, the difficulty with users is that everyone's curious, right? I mean, you only have to put a name or a word into Google and you've got heaps of information. So that is by you getting to younger people and explaining the dangers of just going out there constantly in the wrong areas is such a good thing.
And that's where I think most of my success over the last 3 or 4 years in particular has been driven, Jenny, is because I don't come out and bag the kids. I don't say, don't do this, don't do that. And I just give them good advice in regards to not to rush in, just to treat the online world with the same level of respect they do their real world. And again, I think we're really starting to see a change in shift now. And it's not only me, there's other people in Perth and Australia giving similar education. So it's great to hear that and see that, because kids need a bit of help, because like we all did, we all rushed in, didn't we, when we were younger? We didn't assess risk. But in the real world, again, we could sense to a certain degree danger, whereas online it's harder for our kids to assess that. So with the right education, with the right approach, then they get to understand those risks, and that's what I'm all about at the moment, getting them to really understand that.
Well, you are doing such a fabulous job, Paul, and your grandfather would be very proud of you.
He would be. Thank you so much, Jenny. It was great to catch up with you the other day, and thanks so much for your time today, and all the best to your listeners.
And any time you want to come on and talk about this more, Paul, don't hesitate.
More than happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. Bye for now.
It pays to do your homework.